It is now time to have a look at the objectives for the Part 2 section of Blender. We've already learnt that it's open software, we've already learnt how to navigate around, and now we're going to have a look at how to scale an object and also what the X, Y and axes are and their role in altering the shape of objects. We've now got Blender open, and what we're going to be doing is having a look at how we can actually change and influence this object in the middle of the screen. Okay, if you don't have this view at the moment, just click on File, New, and you'll see it says Reload Startup File. So you can always click on that and it will bring this page up for you straight away. So we have a cube in the middle here, and what we're going to start doing is we've learnt now how to navigate around it, but now we need to learn how to move it and how to actually change the shape of it. Can you see there are 3 arrows? There's a blue one, a green one and a red one. If you can't see the red one, I can tip that slightly so you can see that. Alright, so these arrows represent the different axes, the different planes that we can work on. If you have a look down in this corner here, then you will see you've got the X, the Y and the Z axes. So they're the axes that we are going to be using. If you look down in the corner here, you will see that I have my mouse displayed here. So if I click on any button, you'll be able to see which one I click on. If I press any keys on the keyboard, you'll be able to see that as well. It will show up here. Okay, so let's have a look at our cube again. And what I'm going to show you is if I have a look at where my cube is positioned, you can see that it's about halfway through the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition this by holding my mouse on the blue arrow and just dragging it upwards. Okay, if I want to double check where it is, I can see that it's just floating off the floor, so I can bring that down a little bit. Okay, so my cube is now sitting comfortably on the surface. So I have a number of options now, and I'm going to be able to resize this and rescale it and turn it into whatever shape I want to. Okay, so let's first of all consider the keys that we're going to need to use to resize this. Now, size or scale are keywords in Blender, and the letter S on your keyboard is exactly what you need to press if you want to resize or rescale. Now, can you make sure that your cursor is on the stage? Because if it's sitting in the toolbars at the sides or at the bottom, it won't work. So make sure it's on the stage itself. Press the letter S, and what you will see is the view on your screen changes. I now have arrows that are pointing in different directions, and I have a yellow spot on my cube. Now that yellow spot shows me the central position of that cube. And if I move my mouse out, you'll see that it will get bigger. And the closer I get to that yellow spot, the smaller it will get. Okay, so if you want to accept the change, if you want to make it that big, for instance, you just have to click on the left mouse button and it will select the change for you. All right, again, I can reposition this. I can see it's a little bit through the floor here. So I'm using the Z axis, which is the blue one, and I'm lifting it up. If I wanted to, I could move it along the Y axis, which is the green. If you have a look down here, you will see the X, Y and Z are represented on there. So I can move it along the Y axis, or I can move it along the X axis. Okay, so I've made that bigger. All right, so now I've decided that I'm actually going to change the shape of this, and I want to make it so that it's flat. I don't want it to be a cube, I want it to be a flat surface for me. And the way I need to change that is I need to change it along this axis here, which is the Z axis. I need to reduce that until it's flattened. So I'm going to press the letter S for scale, and I'm going to press Z to show which axis I want to work on. And if I move my mouse towards that yellow spot in the middle, you will see that that cube becomes flattened. Okay, let me show you just by moving around and showing you. So you can see my cube is now flat. All right. So you can have a go at that and you can make it flat for yourselves. I'm just going to make sure that sits up on my grid. And I'm now going to resize this so that it actually fills my grid area. I'm going to start off by moving it so that it's central on my stage. And then I'm going to press S and make it bigger. All right, so I've successfully made a platform. And on that platform, I'm going to start having a little bit of fun. So if you would like to try that yourselves, okay, so that's resizing using the S button and also having a look at the axes, the X, the Y and the Z axis. Okay, so play around with that a little bit. When I join you again, we'll be having a look at how to actually turn our cube into a different shape using the different axes.